Well, the travel, at least for this season, is finally over. Your final 6 games are here at home, but this past weekend, a split at Lake Superior State. 3-0 loss on Friday, 3-0 win on Saturday. Once again, you guys seem to bounce back from Friday to Saturday. Just your overall impressions on this past weekend.
Yeah, I thought it was a good learning experience for our guys, having never been up to the Sioux and played in that type of environment. Obviously challenging, but a good growth weekend for us, we feel. And our guys found a way on Saturday, so excited to come home with some points.
On Friday, let's take a look at that game first. It was a scoreless game throughout the first period and a half. They get one midway through the second. They get one in the third. They add an empty netter late. Hargraves played well, just your guys couldn't really get any offense going.
Yeah, and it was a tough night. And there's not always a systematic change you can make to create open space. It's sometimes you just have to accept it's going to be hard. Credit to them though, they really clogged it up in the neutral zone. They defended really hard, and on Friday ended a lot of plays before we could get anything going. Our goaltending was great on Friday. They just scored first, which was key, and then they played really strong defense, and we weren't able to get anything in the net.
Yeah, you score early in the game on Saturday. Will Howard tips one in to make it 1-0, and it stayed 1-0 for about the next 50 minutes of game time. Mobley and Trombley kind of put it away late in the third. But you mentioned it, Zach Rose, steady Eddie all night, first shutout in team history, and he played most of that game with a 1-0 lead, so he had to be on his P's and Q's.
Yeah, and he was strong right from the start. Our penalty kill was good in front of him, allowed him to see a lot of pucks. And two, he got a little run support, which is huge for a goaltender. And Will Howard's kind of becoming one of those guys that you never really know he scores until after the game's over, because it's just a cloud in front of the net, and he seems to get a stick on it. But those are the goals you need to have in your game. You can't always score off the rush. It can't always be fancy. It has to be. Sometimes you got to go to the grease pan, as they say, and our guys are learning how to do that. But it's big for them to get rewarded and be able to throw their hands in there and celebrate with their teammates at times.
So you end your season against CCHA opponents. Again, it doesn't count officially in the standings, but unofficially, 7 wins, 7 losses, 2 ties. You got points against every CCHA opponent. What does this mean for your guys' future?
I mean, I don't know what it really means. I think our guys should feel some confidence. There should be a belief that we're going to be in the mix when we are finally a full league member. But again, it's so much about living in the moment. We're still learning so much. You go back to it. This is 2 road trips now where we haven't scored on Friday night. A lot of that falls on our staff and how we prepare the guys. But we're going into new venues for the first time as a program, as a staff. And our challenge now is to be better prepared this second go-around.
You end the season with 6 straight here at home at Midco Arena. It starts this Friday and Saturday against Alaska Anchorage. Your initial thoughts on the Seawolves?
They're a lot like us, and they play hard. They're fast. The way they're constructed is a lot of guys coming through the portal because they were coming off a pause not too very long ago. They have some key wins, at Wisconsin, Providence, Lowell, so on and so forth. So they have some big wins. They've put on a lot of miles. And it's that point in the year when I feel like they're playing a real strong, confident game. Obviously, that's growing as they swept Lindenwood last weekend. But we're excited to be home. We're excited for the challenge. Our guys are still really fired up to go to work with each other every day, which is a great thing and says a lot about our group.
All right, I'll end with a fun trivia question for you. Now that your travels are over, I did a little Google Maps approximation of how many miles your team traveled. Your best guess, how many miles did you guys travel this year?
Jeez, can you kind of give me like a...
It's 5 figures, we'll put it that way.
I'll go 17,000. Is that close?
You undersold it a bit. 19,883. We'll round up to 20,000 miles. How about that?
Well, I hope I get to keep those miles, on my United account. But it's good. It was part of our process. Our guys have handled it like champions, and now we're excited to be home.